Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we're going to be talking about gardening for the next 2 hours. 2 hours. If you can join us the whole time, that's great. Otherwise, you can come and go as you want to, because this is a live stream and it's also a podcast. So anytime you want to, you can go to mpbonline.org or YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener, and it got me and Java and all the pictures about to show. Let me grab a thing here. I got this. First, Java, before we go any further, sorry about your sweet puppy.
Yeah, man, that was a real deal thing, and still making it through, because the lady
had to put sweet old lady down. How the kids doing?
The kids are doing fine. I mean, the lady was the first baby for Crystal and myself, and she had been around for almost 16 years, so it was you just don't think about those things until they happen. So yeah,
it happens. That's right. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Surprise. Usually we don't broadcast live on Good Friday, but we're here. Got a lot of folks who are tuning in because of the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page. They're going to join in. But I'd like to encourage anybody who's listening to give us a call. It's live. Me and Java and the live stream producers. So if there's some things on your mind, something you maybe heard about, you're not quite sure, or you just want to argue about something, somebody's going to be nice, that would be me. I promise you, I won't try. I'm sort of a hairy horticulturist, so gardener, but if there's some things we can chat about, this is your chance. We would have got it live. Before we go too much further, Java, I got to jump into my pub talk. I had a real special event this week. We'll talk about that later. But I went to a friend's birthday bash. Let's call him Martin, okay? Martin had his birthday bash. He's a musician. He's got a band. He is such a he does Pink Floyd, all that stuff. Anyway, Martin and his wife Rachel, they threw a big birthday bash, and among all the different tunes and stuff, he also had live tribute music, but he had a local pie man make a great big meat and potato pie. Java, that's sort of like our version of a big old pot of chili. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody gets a dose. Well, big meat and potato pie. It had fluffy crust and had pearl onions on the side. They had pickled beets. Yeah, pickled beets are not a Southern thing, but that's what we had. Anyway, his wife, Rachel, gave out tickets to friends and family because there's so many people there, not enough pie to go around. So when Martin got around to getting some for himself, this is so great. It's such a Southern thing. He got around to getting himself. He asked for an extra helping of pie, and the woman who was serving it up asked for his ticket. Now, this is his birthday party. Anyway, this is a mashup of either quotes from Oliver Twist and High Sierra. Here's how it went out. He said, please, may I have some more? And she said, more? How can you have more pie if you don't have a ticket? And he said, I don't need no stinking ticket. I paid for all this. This is what happens when we get together with our friends.
Well, it sounded like a time. And I was gonna ask, how many tickets did you have of the and how much pie did you get?
Oh, I got what came to me, and I was sitting at a table with a couple of our version of the Northern England version of the art gals in my pub in Jackson, and I swapped my little pearl onions for some of their pickled beets. So I don't know if that means I'm losing my Southerners here, but I'd rather have pickled beets with my pie. Anyway, it's not gardening, Java, but this whole program is about feeling like we're all part of a big old family. We all tell funny stories. So anyway, I'm hoping we get a bunch of calls today because it's just, a lot of people are off of work. A lot of people are out their gardens because this is the traditional planting day. We recommend, a lot of people jump the gun, but we always recommend waiting until Easter to plant because the temperature has been warm. It was really nice warm a few days ago, but the soil has been cold. The dirt's still been cold. And, when you put plants in the dirt, they don't care what it's like above ground. In the dirt, if it's cold and we get a little wet rain, they can get slowed down, they get stunned, even root rot. So anyway, this is the time to plant traditional gardens, flowers. I think it's pretty safe to say we can go ahead and get our garden started this weekend. So, and I just hope that people want to call and talk about stuff because that's what we're here for.
Well, Crystal and I, and the kids, we got out in the garden and kind of flipped some things, laid some new mulch last weekend, and we're ready to finally put our stuff in the ground. And we have a fig tree that's ready to pop out of the pot almost, and put in the ground. Yeah.
Well, I want to come over and help you. I'm actually coming back Monday. I just came over here for a couple of things. One is a real special event, and we'll talk about that maybe later. But I wanted mostly to take pictures of the daffodils. Right now the daffodils are pretty well gone in Mississippi. We're into daylilies and irises and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk plenty about that. But I haven't had any really good pictures of the wild daffodils that are all over the English country, around old country churches and through the woods and all. And I got some real fun pictures, which we'll share for that in just a little while. But anyway, I will be coming back Monday because I'm going to be giving a program this next Thursday afternoon in Clarksdale. You and I have done the not the crossroads, the juke joint festival.
Yeah, at the Collective Seed.
Yeah. That's right. Well, I'm going to be back there again. It's going to be Thursday afternoon. We're not broadcasting the program there. I'm going to be in the studio next Friday. But Thursday afternoon, I'm coming up Wednesday night to sort of, because it's Clarksdale. It's the Delta. That's where I'm from. But we're going to be talking from the back of my truck, 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. The Collective Seed Company, it's a nursery, a garden center that's right downtown Clarksdale at the bottom of the main street. A Blues Museum at the top, all the way down to the Collective Seed Company. They got the Red Panther Brewing Company right there. So I'm gonna park my truck, lower the tailgate, bring Granny's chicken and all sorts of stuff to talk about. I'm hoping that folks drive over, and I'm really hoping the Delta folks can get the word out because our tower's still down up there.
Yeah, we still down. Everybody from that Greenwood, that whole Delta area. I mean, these things happen. They're so unfortunate. That's why we're always asking for support to maintain our tower system and keep the signal out there. But you can listen online. People are tuning in online through YouTube, through the MPB Public Media app. So folks will be out there for you, Felder. People will be there for you.
No, it ain't for me. I'm up there for them. I mean, I can hold forth for the back of my pickup truck at a pub, but it's a chance for people to bring stuff to talk about. Got something weird going on, or some kind of weed or a bug or anything. And so, bring a folding chair and see y'all downtown Clarksdale Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. By the way, Java, did you have a chance to forward some of the pictures I sent you to our live stream producers?
Yeah, Abram and John C, they're back there. They got all the pictures loaded up. I can't wait to get to some of the special photos, but we got all your pictures loaded up.
Well, I wanted to put up picture number 1. Tell me when it's up there because I want to see if you recognize this place.
Let's see. It's a TV screen, I think. Yeah, I know it. That's what's his name? Andy Griffith.
What's that? You were raised right. That's that's a little lake scene from the Andy Griffith show, and that's the fishing hole.
That's it, the fishing hole. Yep.
When I'm watching TV, I like to look at background stuff, and I've always noticed this little scene from outside Mayberry, North Carolina. I'll tell you another one. I don't have a picture of it, but if you ever watch Seinfeld on TV,
Yeah.
when they do a cutaway shot from outside their apartments, they're showing the outside of the building. The trees there, those are magnolia trees growing in New York City, our state magnolia tree. So
Oh,
I
I'm gonna
just
have to
noticed.
pay close. I'm gonna pay closer attention to that next time.
Java, you got a lot on your mind. I'm an old guy, I don't have much to do, so that's what I do. But I do want to throw up a picture. First of all, do we have any calls yet?
Not yet, but Marissa, super producer Marissa, she's back there, and if you want to call 1-877 MPB ring.
Okay, well let's put up picture number two because I've been gone for a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks, and this is what I'm expecting to see when I get back. My garden this week, I've got might be a little bit early for the hardy gladiolus, but my red amaryllis are blooming. I've got the snapdragons I planted back in the fall; they're blooming. I've got texture plants. I got a little boxwood I pruned to gumdrop and a spiky yucca and a little blue bottle tree. But I like to have a little vignette that I can look at my garden all the time. In the Java, so many people they design their landscape from the street looking up towards the house, put a bunch of green meatballs across the front of the house and maybe some shrubs at the corner. But I want something when I look out my window, I see something out there. And so what I recommend people do, and this is just sort of playing around. It takes a while for us to get around to this as a society, get away from all grass and meatball and gumdrop trape shrubs. But if you look out your back window, your kitchen window, all the way to the back of your property. And if there's nothing there, this is the opportunity to plant a little combination, a little flowering tree, maybe a bench or an old chair or a swing or a bottle tree, something physical out there. Put a little small flowering tree around, and then just start putting plants around it that'll come back. And you'll end up with maybe not a whole cottage garden, but something when you look out your window, you should have something in bloom every month of the year. And you can do it in a spot smaller than your kitchen, just a little smaller, the size of my pickup truck. But by combining plants from different seasons with some kind of hard feature, a rock or a bird bath or a sculpture that carries you through the season, you've got something that looks good all year that causes you to lift up your head and look out and get beyond the dishes and the news and stuff. So that's what I do is I look for plants in old home sites, cemeteries, roadside native plants, things that grow really, really well without any kind of care. And I pull them together and I plant them kind of in a group. And no two people do it alike, but when you plant them in a group, it looks like you know what you're doing and you have something out there all the time, plus butterflies and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to throw that one out.
Now, Felder, I do have a phone call if you're ready for it.
Oh yeah, that's what we're here for.
Well, let's go to Jody in Fairhope, Alabama.
Jody, what's going on down in eastern LA, eastern lower Alabama? What's up?
Oh, I'm just looking at my messy yard right now. And I'm a repeat offender. I've called you before. But I'm having questions about what to do. I have a very small front yard. It's beautiful. It has a little crepe myrtle in it. But I have an oak tree that grows, and it spreads its young ones in my front yard. So I have various clusters of baby oak trees.
Oh, yeah.
That I would love to transplant if anybody needs any. We have lots of acorns from here, and also young plants.
Fairhope
if you need any in Mississippi, we got them.
Oh yeah, I've been to Fairhope so many times. Matter of fact, I love they got a little an art school there with really interesting sculptures outside. But when I think of Fairhope, I think of a shady town. You got a lot of sunny spots, but the whole area is basically has slowly become more shaded. So I don't think you're going to have trouble with trying to. You may have trouble giving away oaks. What I'm trying to say. Unfortunately, because of our nature, human nature, you want to save everything. But, to be honest, even though I'm past president of our Native Plant Society, I love native plants. One of the worst weeds in my yard is oak trees from acorns from my neighbor's yard. And I just pull them up. I don't think twice about them. I just pull them up. So if you want to transplant some, you can dig them and put them in pots now. But I don't know if anybody wants any oak trees in Fairhope.
You think we got enough, huh? Well, here's
you
my
got
issue.
plenty.
Yes. Well, here's my issue. The soil in my front yard is not the greatest, and former owner struggled to get grass to grow. And all I know is I'm probably a lot of red clay, because I'm on the edge of a gully, and then the oak trees make a lot of acidic. I mean, we have tons of acorns, so I don't know what to do to the soil to fix it, or if it can be fixed because of the
what is it you want to do?
Acorns and
what is it you want to do with that area? Is it too shady for grass?
I threw out ryegrass in desperation when people were coming into town, and I thought someone might come by and look at my yard, and the ryegrass has done fine. It's just I don't have like a regular centipede or any other kind of what you think of as a lawn grass.
But do you have plenty of sunshine, or is it fairly shady?
It's pretty shady. Even morning sun is kind of blocked by,
here's the
a lot
deal.
of trees.
I'm not trying to be, drawing any bottom lines here, but it's been my experience and my training and the experience of a lot of other turf people that if you don't have at least 50% sunlight, you're out of the lawn business. Now, there's a lot of great lawns in all over the Gulf Coast that are in shade, but they've been there for a long time, and the people have been mowing them really, really high because in the shade, there's not enough energy for the grass leaves to convert into new grass plant. When we plant grass, we're not planting a lawn like rolling out a carpet. You're putting something out there, and we're trying to keep it replacing itself. A lawn replaces itself every month or a month and a half, completely new with all new growth. So it's got to have energy and water and fertilizer to replace itself. So whatever you plant out there, don't try to keep it looking good. Try to make it healthy enough to where it will send out new growth and replace itself. That means mowing as high as possible, a little bit of fertilizer, not very much, just a little bit of fertilizer. And if you go a month without rain, give it a soaking. And you might find out it's better to have a smaller lawn, like a throw rug or lawn, or a winding path of lawn what than wall-to-wall carpet. So think about grass as a walkway
What should I fertilize it with, though? That's what I'm not sure of. Like, what direction do I go for a lawn fertilizer?
Okay, ryegrass is going to burn out. It's an overwinter type thing for us. Up north, it's all summer, but down here, it's going to burn out. So your best two grasses for shade, best one is St. Augustine, hands down. Nothing will grow as well as shade as St. Augustine if it's mowed high. Centipede is another. So if you get either of those growing, you go to a garden center and get this stuff they call centipede food. Whole bunch of different brands, but the first and third number will be the same with a zero middle. It'll be like 15015 or 18018, but let's say centipede food. That stuff is ideal, it's long lasting, it's slow, gives you grass everything it needs, but a little bit of centipede food on either that or St. Augustine, and then set you more at the highest setting. And again, think about designing your lawn to be a specific shape rather than wall-to-wall carpet. Make the lawn a throw rug or a pathway or something, and you'll have a whole lot better success.
Okay. All right. Well, this is exciting but when I look for fertilizer, use one that has same number for the
first and third. It'll say centipede food or centipede fertilizer, and most garden centers carry it. If they don't, they can get it. And once a year is the most you need to do sometime this month. But meanwhile, there's nothing wrong with your clay soil. A lot of stuff grows in clay. Just right around old parts of town, you see lots of stuff growing in the clay. But just decide what you want to grow, and we may need to dig some extra wide holes to get them started or something like that. But you can grow stuff in clay. Just, your whole town is just beautiful with plants that are growing in your kind of clay. So don't worry about that.
Okay. Well, and I am right now looking at my drift, thrift. It's a kind of rose, a pretty peach-colored rose, and then the Katrina rose, and those are both starting to bloom. So, but
you
my
must
yard
have some sunshine. You got some sunshine.
My yard confuses my neighbors.
Well, just hold your head up and go on.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You bet. Java, before we go to the next caller, if we could get them to call up to put up picture number 4. Picture number 4 and 5. I want to throw this out because this is starting to bloom all over the place.
Okay.
Picture number 4 is a Peggy Martin rose. It's a climbing rose, it's real popular right now. This is the Agriculture Museum at the Herb Garden. So if you're anywhere near Jackson, swing by the Ag Museum. They're on Lakeland Drive by the Interstate 55. This is what the Peggy Martin rose looks like at the Ag Museum right now. It's a great plant. But let's put up picture number 5 because this is what really throws people off. This is what Peggy Martin wants to be like. She's a monster. I mean, this is what she does. And if you don't have room for this, that means you're going to have to prune it all the time. So Peggy Martin is real popular, but it will crush one of these little 8-foot arbors, like, people buy these cute little fenced arbor type things. Peggy will crush it. You need something big and sturdy for Peggy Martin.
Yeah, Peggy Martin. I saw the title of that picture, Peggy Martin Monster, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of wild.
It's named after a friend of mine, Peggy Martin. She was the one who saved this rose, and it's named after her. And as a matter of fact, mine at the Ag Museum, it came from a cutting that Peggy Martin rooted from her own rose. But a lot of people are planting these kind of things without realizing it's a biggin. It's a biggin. So we got some callers?
No, but we got one lined up. Let's go ahead and take a break real quick, Felder, and we'll come back. I can't see who's calling in, but we're getting Marissa's back there lining them up right now. So.
All righty. Well, if Abram can throw up a picture while we're going out, picture number 3, I just want to mention one of my favorite roses in my garden is an old-fashioned one called Red Cascades. Little flowers, it blooms nonstop from spring until after a frost, no disease at all. But Red Cascades is an old-fashioned rose. It's very mannerly. I just want to let you know that you can have roses as part of your landscape without them taking everything over, without having to do a lot of sprays. So I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java and all the other folks at MPB. We're glad you joined us, and stick with us. We're going to come back with more of your phone calls live right after this. Stick with us.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you have hated, go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie dokie, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. I'm glad some of y'all are calling in. Good Friday, it's a traditional planting time for Mississippi. It's also the earliest I recommend starting to fertilize your grass. I know a lot of you have already fertilized the lawn. I know a whole lot of people have already planted their tomatoes. I know all that. But people who are wise have waited until April. This is a month to fertilize your lawn. Some people say, I never fertilize my grass. It does okay. Well, it would do better if you gave it a little fertilizer. Don't overdo it. We're not trying to make it jump, but a little bit of fertilizer put out at least every 3 or 4 years will help the grass replace itself, and it'll be a lot stronger. A little bit of good quality lawn food in April is the month to do it. Anyway, let's go up to South Haven, up the tip top of Mississippi, and talk with Rebecca. Good morning, Rebecca. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Felder. I've heard of this, and I'm like, I've heard of all kinds of nonsense for fire ants, but I've never heard of anything like this for slugs. And I'm like, Felder will know. This was on TikTok, and the lady says when your hostas come up, which is now for my yard, sprinkle out some oatmeal, and slugs will eat it, and the oatmeal will expand, and the slugs will explode. And I'm like, what?
Nope.
Seems like a great idea for the people that sell oatmeal, right?
That's right. They say grits will kill fire ants too, but fire ants, first of all, don't eat solid food. So grits have never worked on fire ants, and slugs really don't go for dry stuff. They like moist, chewy stuff. The oatmeal is just not something they're quite used. They might eat it, but it's not going to swell up. I mean, it's just not. There's so many. And Rebecca, I have nothing against home remedies if they're, first of all, if they work, second of all, if they're safe. So that said, it doesn't hurt to put oatmeal out there because it's safe. But second of all, I just don't, it's not going to control slugs. There's a couple of things you can do. Slugs really do have a hard time crossing copper. So if you get some copper wire or something put out there, it's something, it turns like an electrical thing on. They can't cross copper, but they'll crawl all over eggshells. I've heard that. I mean, they'll crawl over eggshells. The only, other than using a snail or slug bait, the only really effective thing is going to be salt. Probably a salt will kill your plants. So you could try this, Rebecca. When the new growth is coming up on hostas, if you mix up a really mild saltwater solution, really mild, just ocean salt water, not really salt, not like you do your pasta, but if you'll mix up a little bit of salt and just mist it, put it in a circle around your hostas late in the day, they can't cross that at night, and it's going to wash away after a couple of rains. But that's not enough salt to hurt your plants. But put a little circle around your plants of a little salt water, and even though it dries, it'll help a little bit. But there's nothing that's going to be good for slugs other than snail bait, slug bait. It's just no home remedy. Boric acid, it might work, but you got to put it out there to add stuff. Anyway, I'm going to say put some oatmeal around them and let me know how it works. But if you find some blown up slugs off your yard, I want to know about it.
I don't know how I would recognize them actually after they're blown up, but
I don't even want to think about it.
So I heard about something else that I can just imagine what this is, but I'm like, chaos gardening. I'm like, that might be what I've been doing all along, is chaos gardening. Have you ever heard of chaos gardening?
Yeah, chaos gardening is one of those things where in Java, this is what I'd like to do. You just take a bunch of stuff and throw it out there. Edible stuff, just throw it out there. Flowers, just throw it out there like a wildflower mix. And that works really good once. And then it becomes chaotic. Then you have stuff that doesn't come back. Yeah, well, and keep, a lot of plants, if it's for flowers or vegetables, they need elbow room. If you're going to do the chaos thing, do it in a small area, a little swath, a little drift here and there, but mix the seeds with something like sand or potting soil. So when you throw it out there, the seeds are spread out, so not all close and coming together. Chaos gardening, I'm not going to say it's lazy gardening because a lot of people are very earnest about it, but it's lazy gardening.
Yeah, what they were recommending was at least put the tall stuff on the north. Don't be totally chaos,
Okay, so it becomes a slippery slope. Is it chaos or not? What I would say is, put plants where you want them to grow. It's okay to interplant. I do that with my lettuces and my kale. I put a little here and put the big stuff here, and a little stuff in between. Planting stuff in long, skinny rows like a farmer, that's really not a good home gardening approach. Mixing stuff up is great, but chaotic approach is not. There's a horticulturalist in me wants to say, that ain't gardening, that's just chaos.
Well, that's what we're used to, maybe. Chaos.
It's just like wildflower. Wildflowers along the roadside, people plant wildflower mixes, and they say, ooh, this is great, we got a wild, and the next year it's grasses and ragweed, and they say, what happened? Well, there's this thing called the second law of thermodynamics. Order goes to chaos. You start off with something nice and neat, it's going to get chaotic. Well, if you start with chaos, it's going to go crazy. So anyway, it's not, unless you're actually driving what you call your garden and having a little control, it just becomes a bunch of weeds. So it's fun. It's fun to do in a small space, but I wouldn't do it over a big area.
Well, I just want to, if nobody's lined up to call right now, but it's all I can do to wait. But I've always found it's better to wait till like tax day to plant these things that are susceptible to frost. It's like,
well, you're up in North Mississippi. Keep in mind that we think Good Friday. Okay, that the further north you go, my friends in Minnesota and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, they don't plant till Mother's Day, till April. Till May. See, we can plant things a month earlier than our friends up in Illinois. So we just use that as a general guideline. The thing to do is find out not just when the last frost is, but when does soil start to warm up? When do the rains stop being cold before you plant? In South Mississippi, late March would be fine. North Mississippi, mid to late April would be better. So we want to make sure the plants are happy. We're not just throwing stuff out there because our juices are going.
Appreciate you calling, Rebecca. That is that you say, Felder, these days are just kind of they're nice little markers, but they're not fast and hard rules when it comes to planting stuff.
By the way, I haven't heard anything lately. How's the wildflowers up in Carroll County? Have they got that under control yet?
Yeah, it was 90%. You can check out that story, mpbonline.org. The last reporting was like 90% contained with that wildfire. And that was maybe a day or so ago. So hopefully they got it all the way taken care of.
Good. We got any callers?
Yeah, let's go to Jim in Jackson. We do have our cheesy tune coming up, but let's go to Jim in Jackson.
Okay. Morning, Jim. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Felder. Jim Rosenblatt here, and I hope everything's going well for your travels.
So far, so good. I'm glad to get home next week. I got stuff to do in the yard.
Oh, good. I have a question following up on oak trees. I've got 5 large bags of mulched oak leaves, and they're chopped up because I stuck them up with a leaf vac. Are they appropriate mulch for azaleas in the yard and for tomatoes in the garden?
They're somebody asked last week on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook, they said she wanted to settle something with her. Her husband says you cannot use oak leaves as mulch. I'm thinking, that's all I use. I drive around the neighborhood with my pickup truck and I bring bags of oak leaves home. And somebody says whether acidic, any type of organic matter, when it breaks down, it releases organic acids, but oaks do not make the soil acidic. They're perfectly fine. They take a long time by themselves to decompose. They have to be eaten by worms and stuff. But if you'll put them out there and throw a little cottonseed meal or some nitrogen out there, they're one of the best mulches ever. And they also really good compost. I use lots of oak leaves. No problems whatsoever.
Should I try to till them into the garden and turn them into the ground, or just let them sit up on the top?
Well, either way, I've got a little raised bed in my side yard, Jim, and every fall I go around. I get bags of leaves. When I'm looking for bags of leaves, I want to make sure the neighbors that I get it from have a few weeds in their lawn, because that means it hasn't been sprayed with herbicides. But what I do is I spread them on top of my raised bed and let them just sort of decompose over the winter. And the next spring, what I actually did 2 weeks ago, just take my shovel and turn it upside down, put the leaves on the bottom and the dirt on top, instead of tilling it, because I don't have a tiller. But no, you can work, if you work fresh leaves into the dirt directly, as they decompose, they will take nitrogen out of the soil, because that's what breaks them down. So if you're going to till them in, I put them out there, hit them with a little bit of cottonseed meal or nitrogen, and then till it in so there's nitrogen there for them without taking away from your plants.
Well, I'm going to stay tuned for the rest of the program to hear your special news, Felder.
Okay, okay. Appreciate it, Dean. Good to hear from you.
Jim Rosenblatt, he needs to be a producer. He's forward promoting right there.
There you go. I forget, I sent you a couple of cheesy tunes. One was about dandelions, I think.
Well, one I can give you the title. You said one was Home, Home, Home. One was Frog Kissing.
Oh, yeah. I want to do the frog kiss because you were out last week. I did this. Now, we never do two cheesy tunes in a row, but I picked out this just for you to hear. Just let you know that I can be one of the cheesiest people. This is called Frog Kissing.
Well, first before we do Frog Kissing, because Maxine from Waterford has been holding on. Let's get her out the way. Well, not out the way. You know what I mean. But let's talk to Maxine in Waterford.
Maxine, thank you for holding on. How you doing?
Good. Good morning to you.
Thank you. What's up?
I'm having a trouble repotting my Easter lily. Mm-hmm. I've had an Easter lily for years, and once I grow the small pot, I try to repot it, and it always slowly dies. And this is the second one that I've killed trying to repot, transferred from one pot to another.
Yeah. First of all, Easter lilies will grow outside in Mississippi. They won't bloom for Easter. They'll bloom for Mother's Day. They'll bloom in May, not April. But they'll grow perfectly fine outside in a good flower bed with a lot of mulch. They like kind of a woodsy soil. And lily bulbs, Asiatic lilies like Easter lily, when you plant those little bulb-looking things, the stem grows up. The roots grow off of the stem, so it needs to be not real shallow, but pretty good dirt and plenty of mulch. If you're going to put them in pots, I would leave them in the pot that they came in and keep them watered. And when they start to die down, plant them for next year because the lilies don't live all summer. They come up, they do their thing, they have leaves for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, and then they die down naturally. So you maybe just be hastening what they normally do. So if you want to pot them up in a bigger pot, try not to loosen the roots up. Just gently put them in a bigger pot and cover the top of the potting soil with mulch, with leaves or bark or something so it doesn't get hard. And just set them out in a sunny spot or sink the pots in a flower bed or something. But expect them to die down a little bit early because that's what they do anyway.
Okay, so once I buy them in the pot, how long can I keep them in the pot? How long do they live? As long as you don't let them get really dry, they're usually in small pots. But if you'll give them just a little bit of fertilizer and give them a good soaking, don't keep them wet, but a good soaking, put them out in the sunshine, you can leave them out there till the leaves start to turn yellow and the top side down, which is usually really before it gets hot summer. Okay. Well, thanks. I didn't know, but thank you for that information.
All right. Like that, a lot of people plant their Easter lilies after church. They put them out in their yard in a nice flower bed, cover up, a bunch of leaves and all, and they come back every year. But they bloom in May naturally.
Oh, good. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for holding. We appreciate your call. All right, Sir Java.
Yeah, we're going to. No, I was just going to say, we're going to take this break and get into this cheesy frog kissing tune. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. We missed you last week, but I had to, because Java's got to hear this. It's too cheesy. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. My awesome producer, Java Chapman. We got Marissa. We've got Abram back there doing the live screen, and we appreciate you joining us. We're going to come back with more of the Gestalt.
Don't forget Johnsy.
Hey, sorry, Johnsy. Of course, Johnson's he's the straw boss back there, keeping it all together. We'll be back with more here on MPB right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back. Just turn around, bend down, and kiss you a frog. That's called frog kissing. If you don't know about it, just Google, do YouTube frog kissing. You'll find all sorts of stuff. So, Java, we got some callers, we got all sorts of people live streaming sending us stuff and emails too.
Yeah, the live stream chat is always open, and we do have a couple comments and calls, a couple questions to get to, but our phone calls, they kind of take a little bit of priority. So let's talk to Cindy in Cordova.
Up in Southwest Tennessee. Good morning, Cindy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's up?
Question. Okay, my daffodils are done. Is now the time to fertilize them, or in the fall?
In the fall. We fertilize plants at the beginning of the growing season, which in the case of daffodils, that kind of stuff is in the fall. If you fertilize them now, the fertilizer, it'll go away without even helping the bulbs. But also, if you fertilize them while they're in bloom or later, you can actually cause a little disease with them. So it's always better to throw a little fertilizer out sometime in the fall. And by the way, you only need to fertilize them every 3 or 4 years. So every couple of 3 years is fine. You don't need to do it every year.
Okay. And one other question. I had some raised beds built last fall and put a lot of leaves and things in the bottom, and then topped it off a few weeks ago with some good soil. And we hadn't had a lot of rain, so that soil is not wet and packed or anything. Do you think I'd be okay going ahead and sowing some zinnia seeds in it, or wait?
Yeah, have you worked the leaves into your dirt, or is it just on top of the dirt? What?
Right now, the leaves are all at the bottom. I put all the fall cleanup debris in the bottom, and then I put the good soil on top.
Okay, yeah, there's no problem as long as there's some bare dirt out there. You throw zinnia seeds out. They're one of the few plants you don't need to plant. You just throw them out, and if you can wet them down, you don't have to water them, but if you wet them down every day or two until they sprout, they'll come up a lot quicker. Once they start coming up, don't water them as often, a little bit more deeper, less often, and then they can take it from there. But I also want to encourage you to sow the seeds thinly. Don't just throw them out there, because if they come up really crowded, they'll bloom, but nowhere near as if they all had a little elbow room. Might want to mix them with a little potting soil or sand to make it easier to spread them out. But just throw them out, wet them down.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate your call.
All right, bye.
Java, what we got?
Let's go to, who is this? Farmerville, Louisiana. Let's go to Jay in Farmerville, Louisiana.
Okay, good morning, sir. Thank you for calling. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Everything's good up here. Excited about Good Friday, and I'm just tickled to death to be able to talk to you. First time, a long-time listener, but I've never called in before.
Well, we've been talking about you because we've been missing you, so bring it on.
Yeah, I heard the dean earlier this morning, so I'm glad I'm following him and not in front of him. But it's Good Friday, and I need you to absolve me from my feelings of guilt and remorse because I'm using sphagnum peat moss in my seed starting mix. And you talked about this before, but I need to hear it one more time. Tell me I'm not destroying the environment in Canada by using sphagnum peat moss in my soil potting.
Okay. First of all, it's one of those things, if you look it up online, we're terrible people using peat moss, but that's based on Royal Horticultural Society, Gardener World, British people. They've run out of peat moss. They ran out of peat moss a long time ago. They burned it up in their chimneys, and peat moss is down to less than 1% of what they originally had. Most of Europe is out of peat moss, but Russia and Canada have got millions of hectares of peat that will never get harvested. The peat moss that we use, the sphagnum peat moss, comes from Canada. They have over 400 million hectares. I'm an international peat harvest inspector. Don't work for the peat people. My job is to make sure they're not doing anything really bad, and they're not. The big problem with peat moss is, I love peat moss. It'll last a long time. It's more environmentally friendly than core that everybody's saying use instead. But the big problem is it's expensive because you have to harvest it and ship it from Canada. So, it's better to use local stuff like compost and bark if you can, but there's no environmental issue using peat moss that comes from Canada. I'm very sure of that. Very sure.
And I try to use compost. I just have a problem being able to make enough compost to take care of everything I need.
Me too. And compost, you can work compost into dirt in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. You work it in, and 6 months later, it's gone. It just gets burned up. It gets used up real quick. Peat moss lasts. And here's something you can do. This is the trick I learned. You can mix compost and peat moss, and peat moss will help your compost last as much as 4 times longer by mixing a little compost and peat moss. So use a combination of both and feel good.
Excellent. I appreciate that very much, Felder. Thank you very much. Enjoyed the show.
And I'm gonna catch flack for saying there's people who have not researched it thoroughly. I've researched it thoroughly.
You will catch flack for that, and I know Monty Don. You put me on to him. I never heard of him. I just accidentally ran across his show, and I've seen some of the episodes. But the problem I have with Monty Don, I've never seen dirt under his fingernails. I don't know how much you can trust a guy that doesn't have dirt under his fingernails.
I know him, Alan Tishmars, all those folks, and they're really, really good. But their audience is really an area England will fit inside Mississippi. So they're reaching an area with a very specific climate, and a lot of their stuff simply does not translate to Gulf South. Yeah, they mean well, but they wouldn't last long in the South.
Well, I appreciate you. I'm going to let you go. You got more interesting callers than I am, but I appreciate you taking my call. Thank you, dear.
I will say one thing. My friend Roger Swain used to be the host of the Victory Garden. He said something as far as I've known Roger been to his place a bunch. He said something that makes the most sense. He said, in general, the further something has to be hauled, the less sense it makes. So local stuff is better, but if you cut it with a little peat moss, it's a win-win.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your call. Appreciate it. See, Java's one thing I love about MPB is I don't have to, I can say whatever I think research points towards without worrying about being criticized too much, because I'm just sticking with the facts.
Yeah, I mean, I say this all the time, but you're not trying to sell things, and you always think about the plants first, and even when it comes to the lawn, you're thinking about the lawn first. I did like that quote though. Who said that? The longer it takes to haul.
Roger Swain used to be on PBS, the Victory Garden. Roger Swain is the guy with the red suspenders and all like that. He and I go way. I helped him harvest his apples 3 years ago up in New Hampshire. But anyway, when we come back the next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about pollinators in the lawn. I've got some really interesting pictures I took of naturalized daffodils here. It's past daffodil season in Mississippi, but it's worth thinking about that. And we're going to talk a little bit about our native bees, which are real active right now. And I got a real special announcement too.
Now, while we got a few more minutes in this last hour, or in this first hour, I want to turn to YouTube and say good morning to Pamela, Timothy, Margie. They're always in the YouTube chat. Good morning from Harperville and Harleston. We even have who is this? Red Girl 36518. Hi from Chatham, Alabama. We have Alan in here who's saying good morning from Virginia. But our friend Pamela, she had a suggestion. Well, she wanted your suggestion because earlier the hour you're talking about the Peggy Martin roses. And she asks, do you have a suggestion for deterring deer from munching on my Peggy Martins? She must have one of those like Peggy Martin monsters or something.
Yeah, well, deer, you keep in mind, I work with people who run botanical gardens and horticulturists. If there was a true good deer repellent, we would know about it. We would know about it. Try whatever you want to. Bottom line is a fence is the only way to control deer. That is it. Anything else can be iffy at work for some people, not for others. But there are no truly deer-proof plants, a few, but nobody wants to grow them. And there are no really good deer repellents. There really are not. A fence is your best bet. And you can get real lightweights like big bird netting. It's called deer fencing. And you roll it out. You almost can't see it. Put it between telephone poles and snatch a boy off a bicycle with it. But there's a deer fencing that's almost invisible and you can put around areas. But that's it. That is it. Bottom line.
Well, Felder, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and start the theme in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's get ready for our little reprieve before we start hour number 2.
Okay, we'd like to remind folks that we do news, and while there's news, Java and I, we go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So if you'll just stick with us, we're going to come out at hour 2. Got some fun stuff to talk about. I know a lot of you got things on your mind. I got a real special announcement I want to share with you. It's a good thing. And me and Java and all the folks at MPB, we thank you for joining us. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener, which is all about you and your garden, and trying to get us all to think about stuff. We're going to do that in hour 2. But meanwhile, we're going to take a little break. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. We're glad you joined us. Had a kind of a rock and roll first hour. A lot of calls and people listening on the live stream. We appreciate that. Got a few more things to chat about, but it's a call-in program. So if there's some things you'd like to chat about, I won't give you a hard time. And sometimes I say things that are a little controversial, but trust me on this. If something's not really good, I want to know why not. And is there something good about it? If there's something really bad, I want to know, is there anything good about it? I try to balance things, and there's a group of folks. Java, I don't know if I've even mentioned this to you, but there's a group of horticulturists online. It's a private group. You have to be invited to join or reference. And what we do is we look at memes and myths and what are people saying. And a lot of people saying you got to do this or you shouldn't do that. And we look at it collectively, do a lot of deep research, real research, not what do they say, online. And we come up with a consensus of the good stuff about the bad and the bad stuff about the good. And that's what keeps me going. So there's a whole lot of myths out there that they don't hurt anything. So I don't care if people do it or not, but some things are dangerous or they're really not effective. and they can give people false hope. So that's where I'm coming from on that. I hope it works.
Well, I think that is a nice way to do it. This is a wild thought, but it took me to the movie World War Z, where in the movie they had a group of doctors, and these kind of things were popping up around the world, like, hey, there's this disease happening and it's turning people into zombies. And somebody else was like, well, no, that's not true. That's not true. And then one of the doctors on the group was like, I'm going to act like it's true. So what will we do? So y'all have like that kind of counsel where they say do the eggshells for calcium, and it's like, no, I'm going to say it's true. But then you get disproven and it's not true.
Well, and most of the time they're always based on something. For example, people say, well, you shouldn't plant certain things because they're poisonous. And that may be true, but not enough to hurt anything. And then I'm reminded that azaleas are poisonous. We just don't eat them, and we don't suck the nectar on the flower. But if it's okay to plant azaleas because you just don't eat them, then and apple seeds have got cyanide in them. So anyway, you got to just be, take everything with a grain of salt, the good and the bad with a grain of salt. So anyway, we got any callers or what?
Yeah, now Marissa's back there working hard. We have a bunch of callers lined up, and let's start out with Gene in Mobile.
Good morning, Gene. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I need some information. These little what you call orchids that you see in like low down depot and places where they sell them in little stems and they grow up there. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Anyway, I inherited a couple of them, and one of them got this thing broke off. And I'm trying to. I've had them about a year, and one of them blooming over does not put up any sprouts. It's got leaves and all that. But what if I want to transfer them to a bigger pot, or is that necessary? There's nothing but roots down in there.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. These orchids, I spent a lot of time in tropics, in Asia and South America and Africa. A lot of time in the tropics, even in the South Florida, subtropics. And these things grow in trees like Spanish moss. They don't really need dirt. We do have some terrestrial ones. We have some native orchids that grow in dirt in Mississippi, but the ones you're thinking about, they grow up in trees wrapped around stuff. And what orchid growers do is they'll get this kind of a coarse bark. It's just bark. And they put it in pots, and the orchids grow the roots around that. The problem is you got to make them think that in the tropics where it rains just about every day. So you have to water them frequently and occasionally put just a little bit, very dilute liquid fertilizer. If it calls for, let's say Miracle Grow, if it calls for a little teaspoon to a gallon, put a teaspoon in 2 or 3 gallons. So if you just put them in with some bark, you can actually go to garden centers and get orchid soil mix. It's a special kind of bark, but that's all they need. And they need regular water, they need humidity, and occasional just real light fertilizer, and that's about it. But I wouldn't put them in a bigger pot. Just put them in a bigger wad of bark, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you need to trim some of the roots off of them, once some of them tangled up in there, or what?
You don't have to. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. I mean, think about it in the tropics. There's a big old tropical birds. They land in there and their claws break stuff off. But the main thing is you don't have to. Just trying to make them fit. You don't have to cut too much off. It doesn't hurt to cut a little bit.
Well, these things are like there's no trouble at all because you only water them once a week.
Yeah, especially if you got it in a humid place. If you keep it outside in a shady place, they like humidity. They like bright indirect light, but they don't want to go a week or two without some water because they don't have any roots. They don't have any roots so their bark doesn't hold much moisture. Is what I'm saying. But humidity is more.
Well, I never would buy none of these things because it's too expensive. I didn't even say. I inherited my niece. Her mother died down in Florida. She would take stuff back over to north. Or somewhere out west, about two, 4 states over. And so she didn't want to. She broke one of them off. When they come back out where you break them off, the leaves are still there.
It really depends. There's actually a lot of different kinds of orchids, and I would know what kind for sure that you've got. I just don't know what kind you've got.
The ones that you see at Low Down Depot.
Yeah, a whole bunch of different kinds though, and some bloom on these old stems, some, so I can't keep track of it. We have some real orchid experts all over the Gulf South, real experts who can help you. By the way, I just want to hold this picture. I don't know if you can see it, but here's one that a friend of mine in England grows just in her, she's had it for like 2 years in this pot with just water.
Back it up just a little bit, Felder. They're right there. I can see it.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice and purple.
Well, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. They're looking fine. The plant's looking good. I just didn't know what to do. I need to do anything different with them.
Yep. I can't help you much. I said all I can say on it.
Well, Gene, we appreciate you calling, man. Felder, let me ask this question real quick. If you were to take a picture and put it on the Mississippi Gardener Facebook page, you think people could help them out?
What?
If he were to take a picture of the orchid and put it on the Mississippi.
Yes. Matter of fact, and that's one of the advantages of this Mississippi Gardening Facebook. John, a lot of people do not do social media. I get that. I don't. I don't know what Instagram is. I don't know. I just, but I do the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page because it's safe. It's good people. And somebody will post the weirdest stuff on there. And there'll be people come out of the woodwork who specialize in that. There's people who grow nothing but just orchids and stuff, and nobody ever asks them stuff. So if you go to the Mississippi Gardening Facebook and post a picture on that, we'll have some people from around here who can help you with it.
Now let's go to Meridian on the phones and talk with Dan.
Morning, Dan. What's going on in Lauderdale County?
Good morning. I appreciate you taking my call. I put some sod down. The ground in my yard was terrible, so I put some sod down, quite a bit actually. I guess my question is, how long after I put the sod down do I start fertilizing it? And can you recommend me the type of fertilizer that would actually help that new grass grow? Thank you.
Absolutely. When did you put it down? Just recently?
A week ago.
Okay. A couple of things. Also, what kind is it?
Oh, gee, I'm not that good on. I believe it's centipede.
Okay, either centipede or St. Augustine. You treat them the same. It's probably going to be one of the two.
Okay.
First of all, I know they told you to water it every day. I know they told you that. That is a mistake. Now keep it. It's a mistake. I studied turf management at Mississippi State. I've worked with lawns for decades. They tell you that because they want it to stay alive until your guarantee is up. What you want, what your grass wants, is to grow roots down into your dirt as quickly as possible. And you can't do that by keeping the sod wet. The roots will stay real shallow. So what I would do the first couple of 3 weeks, give it a good, keep the sod wet. Don't soak it, but keep it wet. A couple of, 2 or 3 times a week for a couple of weeks, then maybe a couple of times per week. And then after that, one good soaking a week maximum. Put the water through the sod into the dirt beneath, and then let that sod almost dry out. The roots will quickly grow down. Within a month, that grass looks like it's been there forever. So tease the roots down by don't let it dry out the first couple of weeks, but put the water beneath the sod and let the sod dry out so the new roots will grow down into the dirt. They're not going to grow where it stays wet. Second thing is, raise your mower at least a notch higher than you're comfortable with. These grasses are not carpets, they're shag rugs, and they get all of their energy for their new growth, for their stems, for the roots. All their energy comes from the sun through leaves. So if you can mow as high as you can, you're going to have more energy. It's going to grow deeper roots and more new growth, new stems faster. So mow high, good deep soaking, but not all the time. And then after it's been mowed a couple of times, go to a garden center and find a stuff called centipede fertilizer, centipede food, centipede fertilizer. Garden center should have it. It's good. It's got everything your grass needs for the entire year. You put it down in April, you're done till next April. I'm real sure of this. So good quality fertilizer in April, mow high, good soaking, but don't keep it wet. And that grass, within a month, it's like it's been there forever.
I appreciate it. Learned a lot today. Thank you, Felder.
Okay, appreciate it. Oh, I got to ask, where are you from anyway?
May I ask that question? Do I have an accent?
No, of course you do.
I am Asian by birth, but I've been in this country a long time. But I have been told that I do have an accent that's not from here. I'm quite. Yeah,
I thought maybe you're from the mid. I thought you were maybe from the Midwest or something. So we got to help each other out, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I enjoyed it, Felder. Thank you.
Oh, appreciate your call. Thank you. Joe, I wasn't offensive about that, was I?
No, not at all. And I was just about to say, I was thinking the same thing. Like, it wasn't a Mississippi accent. It was Midwest or maybe even an East Coast accent or something,
Well, yes, it's just, we don't mean it. We're just trying to be folks. That's all.
Yeah. Now, before we take our next break, let's go to Franklin County and let's see if Melanie has an accent.
Hey, Melanie, all the Rushings came from Franklin County. I bet you there's a lot of Rushings in your neighborhood.
Yes, sir. I know quite a few. Mississippi my whole life.
Yeah.
I want to plant Don Juan roses. I have a 50-foot by 20-foot heavy-duty arbor.
Yeah.
You can walk on it. And I know they're pricey. I'm in zone 9B.
Yeah.
You order a pricey rose like this, and I've read reviews. You buy from a reputable nursery.
Right.
My concern is I want long-term bloom. I don't want a bunch of dead leaves on my arbor.
Yeah.
I want to know how to take care of this thing.
Okay. First of all, Don Juan it's not a commonly grown rose, but it's not a new rose. There's no reason why it should be expensive unless you just buy it from an expensive place. Don Juan has been grown in Mississippi for decades. It is a vigorous rose, but with any kind of rose, doesn't matter how much it costs, what the time is, what type it is. You want to dig a wide hole, wider than you feel comfortable. If you don't feel a little crazy about it, it's not wide enough, because we want to get it to grow roots straight out fast as possible. So dig a wide hole and add just a little bit of stuff to your dirt, a little bark, a little compost. Don't overdo it. Think one handful of crackers crumble up in a bowl of chili, and you got the proportions about right. And then when you get the rose, when you pull it out of the pot, gently loosen up some of the potting soil on the roots. Don't just pull it out of the pot and stick it in the ground. Kind of loosen it up so its roots kind of get spread out in the new dirt. And that's all it takes to root it. Now, unfortunately, Don Juan is mostly just a once bloomer. Big, beautiful, some of the prettiest big red flowers you've ever seen, but it's mostly a once bloomer. Might spritz along a little bit after that, but mostly a spring bloomer. So you might want to think about putting something else on the vine with it. It's perfectly okay to have more than one kind of vine on an arbor. We just had this idea, you just plant one. You could plant 2 or 3 different kinds of vines out there. And then when the Don Juan blooms, it's fantastic. When it's not, you got something else to look at. So just think about that.
Okay, well, if I wanted something other than that, but red bloomer too, for an extended blooming season, what would you recommend that would be red and extend the blooming season?
Well, one of the ways you could get an earlier bloom, we have a native vine. It's called coral honeysuckle, the trumpet of coral honeysuckle. It's a native. It doesn't go crazy like Japanese honeysuckle. And it got clustered little carmine red tubular flowers. It's an important hummingbird plant. So you can put, and it's not going to take over your arbor. So you can put one or two of these native coral honeysuckles here and there. Then you got your Don Juan. And there's a few flowers that'll bloom, vines that'll bloom the rest of the year. There's one that's called cypress vine. It could be a little weedy. It comes up from seed every year, but it will bloom and bloom and bloom and cover with butterflies. And then the only problem with the cypress vine is in the fall you got to just pull it all down because it's just a dead vine. But I can fill in. I can do a little filling in.
Yeah, I didn't want anything I was going to have to nursemaid all year.
Well, it's not a matter of nursemaiding.
Let it go.
It's just a matter of cleaning this one up. I tell you what, stay tuned. Let's see if somebody else suggested something to bloom in the late summer or the fall that's got red flowers. But your Don Juan is going to mostly spring bloomer.
Okay, thank you. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you. I would appreciate you being part of it. I'll think about it, but let's see if Timothy or somebody who's listening or watching online can help me with another good summer or fall red blooming plant.
All right, yeah, y'all. I'll be listening. Bye-bye.
Okay. Say hey to Mama and them.
Okay.
They don't know what that is in England. They say crazy stuff that we don't say, but they don't know what. Somebody asked me the other day if I could do something. And I said, well, I used to could, and they didn't know what I meant.
I don't know. What's a mama and them for in England or in Europe?
I don't. They're just not. I don't know.
They don't have.
I'll report next week. We'll get some pub talk going on that.
Okay, there you go.
Mama and them in English.
Just that collective, greeting. But Felder, let's go ahead and go to our next break.
Okay, we'll be back, folks. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. We've got Marissa, we've got John C., we've got Abram back in the back, also producer job, and all the folks in the front office who keep us on the air. We appreciate them and all the supporters of MPB during our biannual drive time. Thank you so much. We're trying to get the folks in the Delta back online, but meanwhile, if you know someone out there, call them and tell them I'm going to be in Clarksville next Thursday afternoon downtown at the Collective Seed Company in my truck with Granny's Chicken.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates the others that you hated. Go on about their business. Care less.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we're waiting on some calls to come in. It's toll free 1-877-MPB ring. Let me show some pictures real quick, Java. Let's see if John C. and them are still awake back there. If they can put up picture number 6. This is one that I took last fall, but perfectly appropriate right now. This is a native bee. We have a lot of, everybody knows honeybees and those wasps and yellow jackets. We have a lot of different native bees, anywhere from the big bumblebees to the carpenter bees to a lot of smaller ones. But the native bees are unique. They don't live in hives. They don't live in nests. They live in holes in the ground or holes in wood. And I don't know, can you see how much pollen is on the legs of this little bee?
Oh, it's stuff to the rim, man.
That thing's not much bigger than a fly, but native bees are 20 times more effective, efficient pollinators than honeybees. But they live one at a time by themselves. And if you want to have them out there, they don't live in hives. You have to give them a place to live. So let's put up picture number 7. I've got this pile of logs and stumps in my backyard. It's called a stumpery. It's sort of like a rock garden, except it's logs and stuff. But this is the stumpery, and just to show what it can look like in the wintertime, it's got daffodils. I've got ferns and hostas and stuff like that in the summer. But in the wintertime, because it's sunny in the winter, I have daffodils. But there's all sorts of critters that live in there, including our native pollinator bees. Let's put up picture number 8 real quick. You can start them off by getting a drill bit and drill holes in logs to help them get started. Small holes. They don't have to be big enough to stick your finger in. But if you'll drill holes in there, individual bees will hollow it out deeper, stuff an insect in there, lay an egg, a little pollen, and then you'll have more than you can imagine the next year. And then I want to show picture number 9. Here's an idea I got in England. They need their pollinators. They don't have the honeybee thing. So what they do is they stack logs up in little low piles, and they throw some dirt, some sod on top. It looks like just a pile of log with stuff growing on top. And they put them here and there in their landscapes, and they are loaded with all sorts of native pollinating creatures. They provide houses for them. That's just what they do. So if you've got some, I know a lot of folks, because of the storm, they had trouble with fallen limbs. You got stumps, you got logs. If you can find a place in your garden where you can pile them up neatly or randomly, however you want, but make it look like you're doing it on purpose, a place that's specifically for piling debris like this, it becomes normal, because it is normal in places like England where they don't haul stuff off. It not only will start becoming normal, it actually makes you feel kind of good because you're helping pollinators, and it becomes just kind of interesting. Anyway, let me put up, do we have any calls yet, or can I show a couple more pictures?
Show some more pictures, but we do got some calls getting lined up, so show some pictures while we're doing that.
Let's put up picture number 10. This is I want to thank everybody who last month held off on mowing the grass. Their new trend called No Mow March. Don't mow your grass in March. Mow around wildflowers. You don't have to keep it nice and neat. By leaving the clover and the dandelions and the henbit and all that stuff out there, you feed the native pollinators that are so hungry, the butterflies too. And then come April, there's plenty of stuff out there. All the trees are blooming. But if you could just help them get through February and March, this is a picture of dandelions, which we hate because we've been told to hate them. They're fantastic little plants. And the reason I want to show they're fantastic, Java, these are little yellow flowers that come up in the fall, they bloom in spring, and then they die down. So let's show picture number 11. And imagine that those were dandelions, but instead of dandelions, they're daffodils. And for some reason, it's okay to have daffodils out there, but not dandelions. But they grow the same way. They come up in the fall, they bloom in spring, and then they're gone. So you can have a perfectly normal summer lawn and February and March wildflowers in the same place. And then let me throw up 2 more quick. Picture number 12. I was looking for daffodils, and they're everywhere. Daffodils.
That's a nice picture, man.
Every old church, as far as you can see. Let's put up picture number 14, not the next one, picture number 14. This is what is normal to see in the English countryside. They have daffodils where we have dandelions, and they have dandelions too. But as far as you can see, all these bulbs blooming, and get this, when they start to mow in the spring, it's just grass the rest of the year. So the last picture I want to show is picture number 15, and this is how you can get away with it in Mississippi, because people are going to talk about you. You have to show a contrast. This is how, on one side of this little hedge, they have a nice, neat mowed lawn with the edging and all that. On the other side, same dirt. On the other side, all these wildflowers and daffodils and things like that, just to show that you can have them side by side, a wildflowery meadow-looking pollinator lawn and a nice, neat lawn, as long as you put something between them to make it look like you're doing this on purpose. This is how they pull it off in England. A little small area that they take care of neatly, a bigger area they just mow every 2 or 3 times. And not only is it interesting, not only does it save time and effort and money and equipment and fuel, but it also good for pollinators. So it's just one of those things. You don't have to go whole hog, but you don't also have to have all grass. We can have a little bit of both. That's where we're all headed. I think it's a good thing. So anyway, that was my little rant, but I just want to show the wild daffodils in England. We got them in Mississippi too. You drive around old home sites. No reason we can't include those in our regular lawn so that the neighbors will cut us some slack with the dandelions that are out there too. How about that?
How about it? Now let's go to Daniel in Poplarville, who has a question. I think this is about purple irises.
Yeah, it could be. Hey, Daniel, what's up?
Good morning, Felder. We met once, and I just was at the Baptist church. We did the crosswalk this morning. It was wonderful. I wanted to share, though, I have some purple bearded irises.
Yeah.
And you gave me advice on how to propagate them, but they have a scent of grape Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And I've never had any other. I've never seen or heard of anybody that had any irises that had a scent that was pretty.
Yeah.
You know, the swamp irises have that scent to draw in the bugs, but this is in the swamp. It's the rhizoid, and you had told me how to sit them on top of the soil. Don't bury them.
Yeah.
And I had propagated. A friend gave me one in college, and I propagated them and been giving them to friends and family. Somebody stole every one out of my bed, and I replanted. I went to a friend, and he had good luck growing them. I got one. You told me how to make sure to propagate, and it has done very well. So I just wanted to share. Have you ever? My question is: have you ever had a scented iris? Are you familiar with any?
I just made a note of that because I want to find out more about it. Matter of fact, you got a little piece to share. I know somebody could use one. I like to put some of the ag. We have a little herb garden in the Ag Museum where we also have some heirloom plants. There are a lot of plants we think of as normally being scented that aren't. A lot of roses are not scented, but they breed the ones that have scent with the ones with pretty flowers come over the both. And there are some scented daylilies that actually smell great, daylilies. We don't think of them, but I haven't heard of the scented iris. I'll find out about that. I bet it's an antique variety, and there's a good chance that somebody has taken genes from that and is breeding it with plants with iris with other colors to come up with a line of scented one. Anyway, I'm going to find out about that. If you do have a little extra piece sometime.
I definitely want to get you something. I would love to trade for it. If anyone that had a daylily that had a scent, love to trade. I've never sold one because it's such a precious thing. I want to give them to special people, and you're one. I want to make sure and get you one. And I'd love to get one that was. I'd love to get you one that's blooming right now. So I don't know what you're.
Anyway, unfortunately, right now. I'm coming back to the States next week. I'm over in England wrapping up some stuff over here, but I'll be back Monday. But anyway, no, don't waste it. I trust you on that. I can smell it just thinking of it. But if you can set a piece aside sometime, we'll get a start at the Ag Museum. And by the way, I've got a little sign at the Ag Museum. And it says, Santa is watching. In case anybody wants to steal some. Remember, Santa is watching you. Anyway, I'm gonna find out more. We'll talk about the scented iris next week. I'm gonna be an expert on it by then.
Well, I look forward to it, and I'll drop an email, and we'll figure out how to get you one sometime. I look forward to it. You've been a blessing to us all for your advice and your grounded information.
Thank you. Mama said not to thank you for that plant or it won't grow. You've heard that before.
No.
No, the way you thank somebody for a plant is to pass a piece along to somebody else. My friend Gail Barton said that. Anyway, thank you so much. Sorry about your loss, but Santa is watching them.
Yeah, appreciate Santa you, Daniel. And you can either go to Felder, your blog?
felderrushing.blog. And it has a little sign that says email me.
Or you can drop it into garden@mpbonline.org.
Yeah. John, I forgot to mention, I said I'm going to be in Clarksdale next week at the cooperative. Let's see if we can put up picture number 16 real quick. Picture number 16. This is the picture that I took when you and I were up there broadcasting the Gestalt Gardener at the cooperative seed companies downtown Clarksdale. This is my truck up there.
Yeah, man, we've had some great times. I hate we're gonna miss this. So many things happening here at MPB, but we gotta get back.
I want to be back in the studio next week, man. I want to get back. But anyway, I'm going to be there. But also a week from tomorrow, Saturday, I'm going to be at the Farmers Market in Jackson. That's Saturday, the 11th. I'm going to be from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. I'm going to have my truck down at the Farmers Market at the fairgrounds in Jackson. We're going to be talking about native plants and wildflowers or anything you want to talk about. So Thursday afternoon at 3 in Clarksdale, Saturday morning at the Farmers Market in Jackson. This is so much fun for me to rub shoulders with real gardeners. So who got on the line?
Well, we don't have any more callers right now, and if you can believe it, we're halfway through this hour. So it's cheesy tune time. Number dose.
Okay, this is a weird one. This is a lot of people may not know what ska music is. It's not what do you call it? It's like Caribbean.
Yeah, it's kind of I want to say it was one of the precursors to what we think about reggae now. Ska. It was like a precursor to reggae.
Well, this is one that my partner heard about. She thought it'd be appropriate because I'm coming home Monday. So let's play. I forget the name of the group. It's called Home, Home, Home.
It's Ken and Stranger, I think.
Ken and Stranger. Me and Java, we'll be back with more of the Gestalt Garden. I have a real special announcement coming up, but we'll be back to talk with you about your garden just after a little short break. So stick with us here on MPB. Appreciate you joining us and being part of it. Thank you.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back, horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Look forward to being home next week. I've got several things, events coming up, but going to be back in the studio next week, and we're going to be whooping it up. But meanwhile, we got a caller, or you got a live stream thing?
We got a couple live stream questions because YouTube is where we live stream the show, and like you like to say, you can watch it at 2 a.m. if you want to.
Yeah, get a life, but you can.
It's right there available. But let's see, we have Felicia Wyndham in the chat. Any suggestions for controlling pennyworts?
Ooh, that's good. Well, first of all, I need to find out one of the drawbacks. I don't know when she says pennywort. There's several plants that are called dollarweed, pennywort, whatever, but typically they have round leaves. And there's a couple that I'm thinking of. One runs, it has runners with lots of these leaves. Dichondra is one, moneywort is one. So I don't know which one it is, but they tend to grow real low and flat. And if they're growing in with other stuff, there's not much you can do to spray that'll control them. That won't kill other stuff. So what you need to do is make sure that you've got just pull it up. Pull up as much as you can and live with the rest. Typically, these plants, they spread, but they're not competitive. They don't usually take away from other plants. So if you could possibly see it as a companion plant rather than a weed, everybody is all hunky-dory. Pull up as much as you can and live with a lot of it. This is not philosophy. This is practical. The other plant that's sometimes called is dollarweed. It's got a big round slick leaf, and the stem comes up the middle of the bottom, sort of like an umbrella. But it's a flat leaf that grows, a round leaf that grows on the stem that comes in the middle of it. There are some herbicides that will kill dollarweed, but because it's got a real slick leaf, they tend to bead up and roll off. And you got to be really careful, because what'll kill dollarweed will kill monkey grass and other kind of stuff, and lawns. So in the case of dollarweed, I can't remember the name. There are some herbicides that'll kill it. They're kind of tricky to use. But again, I want to assure folks that where that grows, you've got good conditions, usually moist, and it really doesn't take away from your other plant. It doesn't compete with the other plant. It grows with. I know it's not satisfying, but if there was any other way I could recommend, if there's anything I could sell you, if I was selling stuff, I would. But what I would do is pull up as much as you can and just live with the rest and treat it as a, what they call it, a contrasting shape, a contrasting texture. It really, if you can't fix it, flee it, or fight it, flow with it. Pull up as much as you can, live with some of it. It's just a different worldview, but it really does work better than anything else. Sorry about that. Anyway, if you want to email us, let us know with a picture of it. I get more specific and tell us what it's growing in. Maybe that would help.
There you go. And if you have a question, you can always drop it in the YouTube chat or send us an email, garden@mpbonline.org. Now, Felder, we've been teasing, you've been talking about, you got a special announcement. We've been teasing it throughout the show. So what you got, man?
And, well, a lot of people, for the past, as long as you know me, a lot of people know that I've got a real special sweetheart, my partner, Susan. We don't talk about her because she said, don't talk about it, because just don't mean. But every now and then we play a clip of somebody talking about kale. Kale, kale. That was Susan. Anyway, let's put up picture number 18, because last week, 2 weeks ago, I showed you a picture of her hellebores, her Lenten rose. Did they get the picture up?
Yeah, those are some nice flowers.
She grew these from seed before she ever met me. And we're talking about 16, 17 years ago. She'd been growing it a long time. And what she did, she picked some of them this past week. We had them put into a bouquet. Show picture number 19. And we use a bouquet because we got married. Java, you've known Susan a long time. It's now Mrs. Susan Rushing.
That is,
looks like a couple old hippies. I got my long hair, my boots, and she got her little thing in her hair and all. But anyway, this is my partner, Susan. The reason I'm doing this because a lot of people across the state in the South, they know Susan. They've met her for years. But anyway, I want to show you this. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's it. You were just talking about. She went and got the cake.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I did was my now mother-in-law, who's 90, she got really mad at me because we wanted to put something on the top of it, like, happy wedding or, whatever. I said, put on the top of it, find the toenail.
What did y'all put on the top of it?
Well, we had a little thing called love, love, love. It's a Beatles
Okay.
thing.
All right.
But anyway, let's put up picture number 20. I just want to let you know that an old guy like me can find a nice ride. My friend, Sean Singleton, he was the guy that we talked about 3 weeks ago with the 9-year-old banana.
Yeah, and he found it.
Yeah, well, this is his car. It's a 1958 car. I'm drawing a total blank. Sean, we call him, I can't remember. I'm drawing a total blank, but it's an antique car. He drove us around, but just want to show you Morris Minor.
Morris Minor, yeah.
A Morris Minor. And he fixed it all up and shined it all up and drove us around. And just want to let you know, just an announcement, that a lot of people know Susan as my partner. Now Susan, and we're full-time partners. She can be in the studio next week, but she will not go on the air because she doesn't want anybody to know what she looks like. So there's a picture. Don't tell her I posted these pictures.
Well, that's always my question, because Susan is known, to those who know. But I always would ask, do you want to go on the air? Or do you want to do something? And she's like, no, I don't want to be a part of it. It's like the worst kept secret.
Well, I would tell you a couple of real quick things because I'm real proud of her. I met her. She was the head of marketing of David Austin Roses. A lot of our listeners grow David Austin Roses. We lived next door to Mr. Austin. You know, she worked for him for years, traveled to Japan with, all over the place. She was David Austin Roses, but she also grows hellebores with seeds. She's a better gardener than I am, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, she gave me some, brought this in here, got me some cake. I might try to smuggle a piece. Oh, got jam in it, cake with jam. So anyway, just want to say I'm real pleased that she's agreed to now I got to do what I'm told to do again, Java.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say from one married man to a recently married man, it's the best of times, man. Congratulations. The YouTube comments are lighting up. They're saying congratulations and congrats to the lovely couple.
But I want to show you that old Morris Minor car. Now, we were in a riot. I got to tell you, Java, this is before seat belts, before turn indicators, before shock absorbers, I think. It was like driving an old Volkswagen. But anyway, it was just a lot of fun. And we're going to go out to the pub afterwards and meet a few of our friends and then say goodbye because I'm going to be back in Mississippi next week.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, Susan could be with me in the truck in Clarksdale next Thursday at 3 in the afternoon at the Cooperative Seed Company. Hope people, I keep mentioning this, Java, because a lot of folks from Delta, they can't hear this until we get our tower fixed. But I'm hoping that other folks will come on over. Clarksdale is a cool town. They're having their juke joint festival. They have music, but I'll see some of y'all at 3 on Thursday afternoon at the Cooperative Seed Company and at the Farmers Market in Jackson on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, man, that they're gonna be out there in Clarksdale for you. We love the collective seed. Every time I've been there, it's just been a good time, and the Juke Joint Festival itself is just always a delight. So yeah.
All righty. So we got any callers? If I shut everybody down.
No, I think they just the only thing that's happening in the YouTube chat right now is just lots of congratulations, man. That's all.
Well, a whole lot of people know. Oh, I'll tell you what, put up picture number 17 while we're talking. One of the things I like about Clarksdale is everywhere you go, they've got murals all over the place. Southern murals. Can you see this one with the alligator?
Yeah, where is that?
That's on the side of the parking lot side of Ground Zero Blues Club. Right at the top of the street. And they got a huge mural. It's got all the stuff. Everything about it is Old South and all. But I got it cranked down on the bottom. Got a good alligator picture. And by the way, anybody who goes to Clarksdale, if you ever go to Ground Zero Blues Club, you can see these flower pots on the porch that are made out of tires. We planted all up. I made those tires for a beer a piece.
You flipped them inside out.
For a beer a piece. And that's the one. The closer one looks good, but the further down the road, they start looking more and more raggedy.
No, you were taking breaks in between the flipping.
Yeah, but the idea is some people say you should use tires as planters because they're not poisonous. I mean, they use chipped up tires on playgrounds at Disney. They have more lawyers you can imagine. It's not a poisonous thing. It's not. It is not. I'm real sure of that. But anybody who says that tire planters are not suitable, I think they're turning their noses up because they're recycled. Part of the pun, recycled tires. But anybody who's got a half whiskey barrel in their yard can basically just zip it. Because a whiskey barrel wasn't made for planting either. It was made for whiskey. But if you can use a whiskey barrel, you can use a wheelbarrow, you can use a bathtub, you can use a tire. And the reason I want to mention this because they're the easiest for children to garden in. If you put a tire on the ground, dig some dirt up about the size of a tire, set a tire on top of it, and then start filling it with stuff, the kids can have their own little raised bed planter. They can't hurt themselves on it, and stack them 2 or 3 high and get them to paint them. Have fun with them, and when you get tired of them, just roll them off in the ditch where you found them. But tires make really, really good recycled containers. My friend Rick Griffin, the landscape architect, been in Southern Living dozens of times. He's got a huge tractor tire in his backyard, but he spray painted copper, and nobody knows it's a tractor tire because it looks copper colored. So anyway, recycle is recycle, and nothing wrong dangerous, environmental or health-wise, about using tires as planters. The trick is paint them to make people think you're doing it on purpose.
There you go. Now, Felder, we do have a couple questions on the email before we get out of here. One quick one. It's about wound care for a live oak. It says, "Hi, Felder. A knucklehead skid steer operator knocked a hunk of bark off of a large live oak in my yard. You got any wound care recommendations?"
Yes, I do. I help teach the arboriculture course, the tree surgery course at State. And my rule of thumb, first of all, the skid did a lot more damage. It crushed roots before it got to the tree. So it did a lot of damage out from the trunk by just crushing roots. In general, if the wound is less than a third of the way around the tree, I wouldn't worry about it at all. If it's more than halfway around the tree, that's not going to be good in the long run. But what I would do is I would take a good sharp knife or a hatchet or something, and the cut is going to be sideways. If you can make the cut where it goes up into a point like a teardrop, food flowing from the leaves and the limbs down the trunk to the roots is what heals these things. You want to make it where instead of hitting a jagged line, make it where it hits like a point and it will flow around the edges of your new cut and it'll heal it up better. So try to make the top of the wound kind of pointed like a teardrop. It'll heal over a lot better. No, you do not need to use wound treating. No paints, no tar, none of that stuff. Some of it actually retards the healing. No professional arborist will recommend using any kind of wound treatment. Just kind of clean the cut up, make the top of it pointed so that food flowing from the leaves down flows around a little bit better. And that's really about it.
And what did you say? You instantly, when you heard skid steer, you knew that it kind of crushed the roots like instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, because, roots of trees, you stick your arms out and wiggle your fingers. That's where roots are. They're real shallow. And the skid is not going to be, it's going to be heavy. And it kind of compacts and crushes. That's the reason parking cars up under trees causes root damage. It compacts the top few inches of dirt. And they cut off. Water doesn't penetrate as well as air. So another thing you might want to do is go out and aerate. Take a sharp pipe or a stick or something. Go out there and punch holes 6 inches, 8 inches, a foot apart, about 4 or 5 inches deep, all over that area to kind of punch where air and water can get down to those roots. That'll correct any of the compacted soil issues.
Now we got another email, and this comes from our friend here at MPB over at Extra Table, Martha Allen Price, statewide nonprofit food bank, Extra Table, who's done a lot of things with MPB. She has a question. Well, before she gets to the question, she says, Felder, you have to shout out her coworker, Amanda Powell. She is like your biggest fan and loves listening to the show.
Shout out to Anna, Miss P.
Amanda, shout out to Amanda Powell. But let's see, Martha, she has a question about her fig tree. Let's see, I have a fiddle leaf fig plant in my office. It has grown and thrived for years. It's always been very full. In the past few weeks, the leaves have turned brown and fallen off, leaving 2 large stem/trunks. I have not changed watering, temp, or lighting that I'm aware of. Her question is, in order to get it back into good condition, am I able to cut the stem/trunks off, maybe down to 2 inches so that it, or 2 feet so that it starts to put growth out?
Yeah. Fiddle leaf fig, Java, is there's a Scheffleras, there's rubber trees, fiddle leaf fig. They're trees. They are tropical trees, and we grow them in little pots, indoor, low light, low humidity, and they're just not happy. But so they grow slow, but they want to get big. 2 things. If she's had it in the pot for a while, that means that dirt has worn out. Potting soil does not last forever. So I would pull it out. I would gently loosen up the old potting soil, repot it, maybe the next bigger size pot, but loosen it up, get rid of some of the old potting soil, kind of spread the roots out, and put it in fresh potting soil. And then she could cut it back, cut one stem at one height and another stem at another height because they sprout out right where you cut them. So I've cut these plants bigger than my wrist to just stubs, and they sprout back out, sort of like trying to get rid of a crepe myrtle tree. So cut them back different heights, and that will stimulate new growth, but it's really important to repot it, give it some fresh potting soil. That'll help a whole, because it's struggling in old dirt.
Okay. And I think I kind of had that conversation with Crystal as we were kind of redoing our garden, because we got that raised bed and we're making sure to include some of the natural dirt and not just that bag soil.
I know that she laid down all that weed fabric and stuff like that. But anyway, me and Susan, we're gonna be in town next week, so let's get together.
Okay, that's a.
I tell you what. Why don't you get us a little glass of wine or something, and I'll bring my bride over to your place. We'll talk gardening.
There you go.
All righty. And we'll commiserate over poor old Sally. We're gonna miss old Sally. Your old puppy died.
Yeah, my baby lady, and yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying about that. No, it's all good, Felder. We at the end of the show.
Big old hug, Java. Big old hug. It's okay, brother. It's all right.
Yeah, man. It's all good. But we'll see you in studio next week, Felder. We got about 30 seconds. Take us home, bro.
Okay. Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting, Java, and all the live stream. We just so appreciate you supporting us. I'll see some of y'all in Clarksville next Thursday afternoon at the cooperative, some at the farmers market next Saturday. But meanwhile, if you get a chance, go to a garden center, get a big old pot, fill it with some dirt, throw some flowers in it, and do your best to do what we do, and that's get dirty. See you next week.